Tonight we're going to be learning Maseches Shabbos Taf Kuf Aleph Amud Aleph. We'll be starting at the Mishnah on Kuf Amud Beis, at about 2/3 of the way down. The Mishnah opens, Hazorek min hayam liyabasha, if someone throws from water to land, umin hayabasha liyam, or vice versa, umin hayam l'sfina, and from water to a boat, umin hasfina liyam, or vice versa, and as well, umin hasfina lechaverta, from one boat to another. In all of those cases, you are pater aval asr. It's an isur derabanan. You're going from a karmelis to a reshus hayachid, or vice versa. That's the reisha of the Mishnah. The Seifa continues, Sfinos kshuros zu bezu, if you have sfinos that are tied together, the taltal mizu lezu, you're allowed to carry from one to the next. Im einon kshuros afal pi shemukafos, if they're not tied together, even though they are mukafos. What does mukafos mean? We would have thought mukaf, like mukaf choma, that it means that it's surrounding all the boats. That's actually not what the din is. In fact, if you look at Rashi in the Mishnah, Dibur Hamaskal shemukafos, immediately to the left where we are, shemukafos smuchos zu lezu, they're so close. They're so close that you don't even need a rope. So there, the Mishnah says, that would be an isur derabanan as well. Opens the Gemara, Itmar Sfina, there's a machlokas amoraim in regards to a boat. And that is, how do we draw up water when you are on the boat, if the boat is a reshus hayachid and the water is a karmelis? How do we do that? Well, you're going to live on the boat forever with no water. You got to reach down and get water sometimes. That's a machlokas amoraim. Rav Huna Amar, Rav Huna was of the opinion, Motziin hemen aziz kol shehu memale. You take a stick that's connected to the boat, put a bucket on the end, and you scoop out some water, and then you can bring it back in. That would be a lenient approach in regards to getting water onto the boat. That is the shita of Rav Huna. In contrast, Rav Chizda v'Rabbi bar Rav Huna Amrei, these two Amoraim held differently. They said, Ose makom arba umimale. They said, no, you have to build a 4x4 platform of some kind, a 4x4 structure. And from within that, you're allowed to scoop out with a bucket. So these are the two shitas. Why do each of these Amoraim hold like they do? That the Gemara will tell us right now, 4 lines above the wider lines. Rav Huna Amar motzi hemen aziz kol shehu memale. Why does he say you need to attach the bucket to a rod that's attached to the boat? Because Kasavar, he holds karmelis me'ara mashchinan. The avira makom pturhu. Beautiful machlokas. This Amora was of the opinion that when we measure water as a karmelis, where are we measuring from? We know that above 10 tfachim in a karmelis is makom ptur. But where do we measure from? From the ground, from the seabed, or do we measure from the surface of the water? Rav Huna held we measure from the deeper one. And therefore, it's everything above the water is a makom ptur. If that's true, why do we need the ziz? Why do we need the board? Why do we need the peg, the rod that's attached to the boat with a bucket on the end to scoop it up? Just scoop it up. Why the extra ziz? Ubedinhu, last of the short lines, ubedinhu the ziz nami loli boy. We really don't need that either. Ela ki hechi de lehave lehekera. Just to be a heker, to recognize that we're getting close to the isur derabanan of moving from a karmelis to a reshus hayachid. Nevertheless, that's what Rav Huna holds. Second shita, first of the long lines, Rav Chizda v'Rabbi bar Rav Huna, Amre ose mokom arba umimale. You first have to make a 4x4 frame and something that floats in the water, and then you scoop out from within there. Why did they say that? Because remember what we said, Rav Huna said that they measure from the seabed? That's not what this collection of Amoraim holds. This is Rav Chizda and Rabbi bar Rav Huna. What do they say? Kasavre, they hold second of the wider lines, karmelis misfas maya mashchinan. We measure only from the surface of the water, and because we measure only from the surface of the water, so therefore you're within 10 tfachim. The top 10 tfachim of the water is karmelis. So if you take a bucket and scoop out from the surface of the water and bring it on your boat, that's an isur derabanan of karmelis to reshus hayachid. That's not allowed. So therefore, we have to make it a reshus hayachid. How do we do that? Make a 4x4 frame. And that's how Rabbi bar Rav Huna and Rav Chizda hold that you are allowed to draw up water. Maya arasmichta, we treat the surface of the water as the counting point. Ilo avid makom arba, and if you don't make a 4x4 space to draw up the water from, kamitaltel mi karmelis reshus hayachid, and that is the shita of Rav Chizda and Rabbi bar Rav Huna, who say that you have to build a 4x4 frame in order to draw up the water onto the boat. Excuse me. Amalei Rav Nachman, the Rabbi bar Avuha. Here's a question on the first shita. Le Rav Huna, according to the first shita, the Amar Motzi hemen aziz kol shehu memale. According to the first shita, that you have to attach a bucket to a rod, and that's how you have to scoop it up. But wait a minute, I know that you hold that we count the karmelis from the bottom of the ocean, but still, zimnin deleka asara. Maybe you're floating in very shallow waters. And if that's true, maybe there aren't even 10 tfachim under the water. And if that's true, then when you scoop up, you're scooping up from a karmelis, and that's an isur derabanan of karmelis to reshus hayachid. You come metaltel zimnin deleka asara. Maybe there isn't even 10. You come metaltel the karmelis reshus hayachid. It says the Gemara in response, nope, don't worry. Amar Lei said back to him. He said back to Rav Nachman, no concern. Gamrina de ein sfina malachas bepachos me'asara. Boats don't go in waters that are less than 10 tefachai, so we don't have to worry about that. Yes, they do. Morsha Islay, the very front of the boat had a protrusion called a prow that would get very, very close to the shore. And when you get close to the shore, you're within 10 tefachim, so maybe that would be a problem to draw from there. Why wouldn't that be a karmelis? You're within 10 tefachim. Says the Gemara, Amar of Safra, Geshushe Azle Kama. Rashi here points out that you would put people in front of the boat to get to that point, and the boat itself would never get within 10 tefachim of the seabed. Says the Gemara, now let's ask a question on the second sheet. We asked one question from Rav Nachman and Rav Huna. Now we're going to ask a question from Rav Nachman on the second set of Amoraim of Rav Chizda and Rabbi Bar Rav Huna. Amar le Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak le Rav Chia bar Avin. According to Rav Chizda ule Rabbi Bar Rav Huna, de Amrei osa makom arba umamale. They said you need to make a 4x4 frame, because in this 4x4 frame, that is how we make it a reshus hayachid in order to draw up. If that's the case, shofchen didei hechashadilu. Where do you throw wastewater? You're not allowed to just dump it out, because then you're going from reshus hayachid to a karmelis. Seemingly, you'd have to throw it out also into a 4x4 frame to avoid the isser derabanan of going from a reshus hayachid to a karmelis. V'chi tema, and if you want to say the shadilu ba'osamakom, and if you want to say, okay, they had a 4x4 frame, maybe they threw the same wastewater into the same spot that they would drop the drinking water. Says the Gemara, no way, ma'isile, that's disgusting. Nobody has perfect aim when you're throwing off of a ship into a 4x4 tefach frame. That's tiny. So it's going to get dirty with waste. That's not a normal way to drink water. That's not what's going to happen. So that says the Gemara, you're right. You're right. What did they do? How did they dump out the water? The shadi lehu dafna desfina. What they did is they would pour the waste against the wall of the ship, and it would just drip down the side of the ship into the water, and that was considered okay. Why is that okay? Asks the Gemara. You're still the one pouring. Who cares if you poured it on the side? You're still the one pouring. What is this, grama, B'ilchos Shabbos? What is that? Says the Gemara, no. The reason, yes, but the reason why is because we're talking about a din derabanan to start with. Kocho, the karmelis, says the Gemara, lo gazur. There is no isser derabanan by a karmelis as it relates to kocho. And therefore, once you create a separation between your koach and the result, there's one domino between you and the results, and then it's going to be considered okay in regards to the karmelis. And here, pouring the waste against the wall of the boat, the outer wall of the boat, is sufficient for reducing the status of the Isser Derabanan from a Reshus HaYachid to a karmelis, and therefore permissible. Umana Timra, how do we know about this precedent for Kocho bekarmelis lo gazru? Says the Gemara, Detanya, we have a brisa. Stvina ein metaltalin lo mitocha leyam lo miyam latocha, hayam lasocha, as we spoke about in our Mishnah, that in either direction, you're not allowed to carry from a boat to the water or from a water to the boat. Top of Kufal Amad Aleph, says the Gemara in the name of Rabbi Yehuda. We're in a brisa right here. Brisa says, Rabbi Yehuda Omer Amuka Asara, if a boat sinks 10 tfachim into the water, the Ein Gvoa Asara, but it's not 10 above the water, mitaltalin mitocha layam, then you're allowed to carry from one to the next. Aval lo min hayam latocha, but you can't carry from the water to the boat. Why not? Why would we make such a distinction between the two? It should be a two-way street. If you look back in our Mishnah, everything's a two-way street. If you're not allowed to carry from the yam to the sfina, you're not allowed to carry from the sfina to the yam. So why here did we make a distinction? Ma'ishno min hayam lasocha. What's the difference between the water, where we said that min hayam lasocha de lo kamitaltalin, you're not allowed to because it's mikarmelis reshus hayachid. The mitocha layam nami kamitaltalin reshus hayachid the karmelis. Should be a two-way street. There's no reason we should allow pouring anything off the boat of any kind. Nothing. We should nothing at all. Why are you allowed to do that? Answers the Gemara, because you misunderstood Rabbi Yehuda. What was Rabbi Yehuda talking about? El alav. It must be achuda, that this distinction in terms is that you're allowed to do kocho when you're pouring off of the side of the boat. That's where we learn out this idea that kocho bekarmelis lo gazru. But what is not allowed? You're not allowed to scoop up water from the yam and bring it into the boat itself. That's not allowed. Ushmamina kocho bekarmelis lo gazru shmamina, and that's how we have our precedent of the fact that a karmelis. The fact that a karmelis, when there's kocho involved, there's no isser derabanan. That's the end of sugya number one. The start of sugya number two is in regards to boats that are shaped like canoes. Amar Rav Huna, Hani bitzasa demeshan. There were these types of boats that were built like canoes, and these bitzasa demeshan. Let's see what the Gemara has to say about them. Ein metaltalin bahen ela be'arba. You only have 4 amos to carry from them, or in a radius. What does that mean? it means that it is not a Rishus HaYachid. This is what the boat looks like in a cross section of the boat. The top of the boat you sit in, the bottom of the boat is very tapered down to a point. And these numbers that you see of 4 and 3 will become momentarily very helpful. So what are the parameters here? Velo Amran, when do we say that it's not a Rishus HaYachid? Velo Amran ela she'ein bepachos mishlosha arba. That means that within the bottom 3 tvachim, there is no width of the boat of 4 tefach wide. If in the bottom 3 tvachim you don't have 4 wide, that's our case. But if within the bottom of 3 tvachim you have 4 tefach wide, then it is a Rishus HaYachid. In other words, we're just isolating those bottom 3 tvachim to see how wide is the boat in those last 3 tvachim. If it's wide enough, then the whole thing's a Rishus HaYachid. If not, that's when we have this din that it's not a Rishus HaYachid, and you will only have Dalet Amos as a radius in each direction. And the malinhu, if you fill up the bottom space of that boat, that tapered aspect of the boat, if you fill it up with stuff, with hay, with wheat, with whatever you want, malinhu bekanei, so then less than, but then it's also Rishus HaYachid because it's useless to you. It's batel. The floor becomes a new floor. It's not a tapered floor anymore. So if there's a floor in there of any kind, so then that also this then doesn't apply of Rav Huna. Okay, Maski floor of Nachman. Rav Nachman asks a question again. This I don't understand. The lema good achis mechitzta. We know, as we will see in a moment, we know that we have a precedent called good achis mechitzta. It's actually halacha Moshe Sinai, that when you have a structure that has a top, but it's lofted on pegs, that we have these theoretical droppings of the sides of that thing that's above the peg, and I'll show you a drawing of this in a moment, that drops all the way to the floor. And we want to apply potentially the same thing to the boat. In other words, if the boat tapers down, who cares? Just say, good achis mechitzta, the halach l'Moshe Sinai. The walls at the high part of the boat just drop all the way down, and it's as if it's a square or a rectangle. Milo Tanya, 1/3 of the way down. Do we not have a brisa like we saw earlier in the Masechta? We saw this on Daf Hey. What did it say? Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yehuda, Omer, no, it's kind of Rishus HaRabim Muvarosho Traskal. If there's a peg that's stuck in the ground, and on top of that peg is a traskal, there's a basket, and what did we say? And you threw on top of the basket. Let's see what it says here. Here's the case. You have a peg. The peg is the post in the middle, and there's a box on top, like a bird feeder of some kind. And the box is, the whole thing is more than 10 tefach tall, and the box itself is 4 tefach by 4 tefach wide, but the box only sits atop the pole. Look at the dotted lines. That's the din of the halacha Moshe Sinai called good achis mechitzta. That we drop down those theoretical walls to make it into a Rishus HaYachid mamish, such that if you throw from here a Rishus HaRabim onto the top of the box, you're mamish chayv midaraisa, chayv skila, chayv kares, all of the implications. So we have a precedent of good achis mechitzta. Why does the good achis mechitzta apply here, but not by the boat? Why does Rav Huna say this strange din by the Bitsasa Demesha? Very good question. Says the Gemara, Hachanami, it should be that over here, Nema by the boat, good achis mechitzta. Answers the Gemara with a question. Wait a minute. Wait 1 second. Maski floor of Chizda, you didn't learn the whole sugya. You're right that there's a shita that holds it by the traskal, by the box that sits atop the pole that we hold good achis mechitzta. You're right. I'm asking with you. However, Maski floor of Yosef, v'lo shmiela lehu lahada amar Rav Yehuda amar Rab. What some people say was said in the name of Rab, umatuba, and some say that it was Rab in the name of Yishum Rabbi Chia, the Tani Allah, what did he teach? The Chachamim Potrin. Says Rabbi Yosef, you can't bring me a proof from the case of Traskal to the case of the boat, because by the Traskal, we have the sheet of the Chachamim that says you're Potter. So you can't bring me back to the case of the boat to learn that we have good achis mechitzta. Absolutely not, because even by Traskal it could be Potter. Great question. Amar le Abaye. Abaye has a multifaceted response here. The Atlo Tizbra, Rabbi Yosef, forget about your case. Even you would have to agree with the following case that we do hold, that there is good achis mechitzta. V'alo tizbar v'atanya. We have a brisa 2/3 of the way down on Kuf Aleph Amud Aleph. Amud b'Rishus HaRabim gvua Sarah. You have a pillar in a Rishus HaRabim that is 10 tefach tall. The Rachav Dalet at the top, it is also 4 tefach wide. Ve'ein bi'ikaro Dalet, but there are parts of it that are not 4 tefach wide. V'yesh b'katar shelo gimel, and there are places where it's only 3 tefach wide. V'zarch v'nocha al gabav chayav. And we see there that when you throw something on top of it, you're chayiv. V'haraya that we hold good achis mechitzta alma amrinan good achis mechitzta. We see that in that case the walls drop to the bottom. Over there we hold of good achis. So you, Rav Yosef, who wanted to say that maybe we hold like Rav Chachamim in the case of good achis mechitzta by the traskal, But that doesn't work here. And if that's the case, and maybe we should say hachanami by the boat gurachis mechitzta, and now you can't lean back on the chacham, and there is no chachamim here. Everybody agrees that in this case you're going to be chayiv because of gurachis mechitzta. So now you should go back to the boat and say that you're chayiv as well. And not only that, but the cases aren't comparable to start with. Abaye says to Rav Yosef, Midi Iria, what are we even talking about? Hasam, Havile Mechitza Shagdim Bokimba. In the case of the Traskal, that case is anyways not comparable because is not comparable to this case, because in the case of the Traskal, because the walls are only theoretical, because they're just dotted lines, an animal can walk right in between those dotted lines up against the post. So there are Gedim Bokimba. These animals can walk right within your Dalet Amos, Dalet Tvachim. However, Hacha, with the second case that I just presented, where it tapers only a little bit to 3 Tvachim, there in that particular scenario, Hacha Havila Mechitza She'ena Gedim Bokimba. So therefore, we should not say that in that case that, therefore we have this distinction of animals that are bokimba and animals that are not bokimba. So by the traskal, we should not say gorachis mechitza. Maybe you're right. But in this case, we should. Amar le Ravacha b'rei de Ravacha the Ravashi. Ravacha, the son of Ravacha, said to Ravashi, Gabi Sfina Nami, wait a minute, by a boat too. What's true by a boat? Ha'ika b'kias dagim. In our theoretical case that I drew up here, we have a boat. And the boat tapers at the bottom. So if the boat tapers at the bottom and you drew theoretical lines down from the side, so fish can swim right here underneath. And we're going to draw these theoretical lines right here. Fish can swim within. So you said that when the Gedim are Bokimba in the case of the Traskal, there you wanted to agree with the Chachamim. By a boat, we have fish. The fish can swim right under the theoretical dotted lines. Maybe here too we should not say Gurachis Mechista. Says the Gemara in response, no dice. Why not? Omar lay, 3 lines from the bottom, Bekias Dagam, Lo Shmei Bekia, that fish are not considered an interruption. Uminat Timra. How do you know that that's true, that fish are not considered an interruption? Very simple. De Ba'amine Rab Tavla, may Rav. We have just a gears to change here. This is changed to Rav. It's not Rabin. Rabbi Tavla asked a question to Rav. Let's say you have a destroyed building. The walls are in shambles. The lower part of the walls are broken down. Part of the wall's hanging. The bottom half is missing. Does that wall count as a matir for an eruv, for carrying, for anything? So says the Gemara, but Amar Lei said back to him, Rav said back, no. Ein mechitza tluya materes. We never look at a wall that is missing its bottom half as a matir, Ella, except for one case, turning to the top of Kufala from the base, Ella for what? B'mayim. Kalhu sheikilu chachamim b'mayim, that we do allow for mechitza tluya. B'mayim. Why would you allow for mechitza tluya? And for the language of equivalence, mechitza tluya is no different than gurachis mechitza. It's the same thing. It's a theoretical wall. The mechitza tluya is only this high, and then the bottom half is missing. Mechitza tluya, by water, we say there's a theoretical drop that the wall works in water. That's the same thing as gurachis mechitzta. So Ella v'amai. But why would it work in water? V'ha'ika b'kias dagim. Ella, what must be the case? Ella shmamina b'kias dagim lo shma b'kia, and that fish are not considered an interruption to the concept of gurachis mechitzta, and therefore we should assume that there would be gurachis mechitzta by the boat as well, and this uproots the shita of Rabbi Yochanan, who recommended these unique set of dinim that applied by the boat. Okay, let's continue. One more sugya. I'll bring us to the bottom of the page, just a few more minutes, then we will wrap up for tonight. We said in the Mishnah, Sfinos Kshuros, when boats are tied together, that one is allowed to go mizu lezu from one boat to the next. Says Gemara Pshita, thank you very much. That's very obvious. Of course, that's the case. No, Rava says, not only are the boats allowed, the ones that are tied together, but the boat, let's say you have 2 boats, one here, and they're connected by a rope, but underneath is a small, tiny rowboat in between. Rava says that boat's mutter too. Not just the big boats, but the rowboats too, even if they're not tied in. Says the Gemara, a little bit tongue-in-cheek. Amar later of Safra, Moshe, shop your commerce. Moshe, you're the Moshe Rava of our generation. Take a look at Rashi halfway down. Rashi says, Dibra Maskal Moshe, Klomar, Rabbeinu Bedoro, Kemoshe Bedoro. Rava, you're Mamish, the Gadol Ador. What? I just don't understand what you're bitmi. I don't understand what you're talking about. How could you say that? Mitaltelen Mizula Zutznan. Look at the Mishnah. You can only go from one boat to the next. What does the Mishnah say? That you can have a rowboat in between the 2 bigger boats that are connected by rope. Mechatesi. And therefore, Rav Safra refrains. What are we talking about? We're only talking about boats that you make an eruv on from one boat to the next. Like the Brisa says, Sfinos Kshuros Zu Bezu. If you have two boats that are tied together, you can make an eruv on them and carry from one to the next. Nifsaku nesru. If the eruv gets broken down, you're not allowed to carry between the two boats anymore. Choser v'niksru. Let's say the boat got reconnected. How so? Bein shogigin, either by accident, bein mezidin, even if it's on purpose. Bein anusin, even if you were forced to do it. Or bein mutin, even if you made an accident and reconnected them, doesn't make a difference. Chazru le'heter harishon. We say in this case that however the eruv was put back together between these two boats, you're then allowed to carry still again between these two boats. The same is true by machatzelos, by mats, by reed mats. Haprusos, which are spread out, they do function perfectly fine as an eruv. However, niglalu nes, or what if they accidentally their tie on one side comes undone and the mat rolls back up into its natural form? Now you don't have an eruv anymore. So then the din is, of course, nesr. You're not allowed to carry there. We're halfway down on kufala from the base. But chazru v'nifrasu. What if in fact they get spread out again? Adds the Gemara in bein shogigin, bein mezidim, bein anusim, bein mutin. Same thing, no matter how. By accident, on purpose, if you were forced, or by another form of doing it as a mistake. Chazru l'heter and harishon. And here's a cloud that's laid down in the Gemara halfway down. Shekol mechitza shenases b'Shabbos. Any mechitza that is made on Shabbos, bein b'shogig, bein memezi, we don't care how it's made, shma mechitza. It functions as a mechitza. Powerful idea, even though it was done by Isser potentially. Says the Gemara, Eini, really? That's not true. The Hamar of Nachman. Rav Nachman says, Lo Shanu, when does that din apply? That's only true by throwing that we would be lenient in such a case. Aval l'taltel aser, absolutely not. You're not allowed to be mazid. That's not ridiculous. You're not allowed to be mazid, make an eruv, and then carry in it. That's crazy. So says the Gemara, you're right. Kitmar de Rav Nachman, amazid itmar. But that's only true when it was b'mezid. That's when Rav Nachman puts in the limitation of being metaltel. However, if it was done b'shogeg or b'ones or b'mutin, if you made a mistake, then it would be mutter. Last brief sugya for the night. Sorry, I said that earlier. I was wrong. This is the last brief sugya of the night. Amar Shmuel said, "Ve'afilu kshuros bechuta sarval." Even if the boats are tied together by lightweight ropes, no problem at all. That's all that counts. Says the Gemara, what are you talking about? Hechi dummy. What kind of ropes are we talking about? 2/3 of the way down. If the ropes are strong enough to hold the boats together, obviously that works. If the rope is not strong enough to hold them together, then of course it doesn't work. What are you even teaching us, Shmuel? The rope, of course, has to be strong enough to hold. So let's say, here's what the Gemara says. La'olam, of course. What did Shmuel mean? Obviously, the Yachol Hamida. Pasha. We just spoke about 5 lines ago that nifsaku, the nes, or if the rope breaks, you're not allowed to carry. Of course, the rope has to be strong enough. But what are we talking about? Shmuel was trying to preclude one of his own dinim that he taught in a different area of halacha, where he was concerned that maybe we would have extrapolated from that sugya that we're about to learn back to our sugya, and that's why Shmuel had to teach the din here. What was that other sugya that's not? The Mishnah writes elsewhere. Kasher b'davar hamamida. If you have 2 things that are tied together with something that's strong enough to hold them together, maybe latuma, that if there's tuma in one area, it'll transfer to the other area. However, b'davar she'ein ma'amida, if it's not strong enough to hold, ein maybe latuma, then the tuma doesn't transfer. Seemingly obvious. The Amar Shmuel, when does it transfer? Not just with any rope. It can't just be any regular rope. It has to be a chain made out of metal. And what are we saying here? Le'inyan tuma. When it comes to inyan tuma, that's when we say hu dechsiv b'chalal cherev. It has to be done with metal. Cherev, out of metal, harehu kechalal. That's yes, aval inyan Shabbos. No, there we don't need the heavy chain by inyan Shabbos. By our case of Eru, by our Sfinos, Shmuel was teaching us a regular rope will do, even though by Tuma we needed the Shalshela Shel Barzel. By Shabbos, a regular stam rope will make the Eru between 2 boats. Aval inyan Shabbos came in the Yachol Ha'amida, because by Shabbos, since any rope will do, afilu b'chuta sarval, any light material rope will do, it does not have to be made out of metal. We'll stop here for tonight, and then Mir Hashem pick up on Kuf Beis tomorrow night, and we'll be starting tomorrow night in Mir Hashem at 9:15. Wishing you a beautiful night.